Or Noah Clark, and you're watching Worldwide Sim Racing, live coverage of the 2020 WSR Formula Euro Championship. And I'm glad to bring back action in the WSR, and I am joined today by Tier 1 driver from Red Bull Racing, Mercedes, as I'm thinking about last year. It's UCB Flying.
How's it going, Noah Clark?
It's going great. My ear ain't going great, but we're going to forget about that as we're going to get ready for action at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, which hopefully does not hold multiple rounds of the championship like proposed in recent news. Hope that doesn't happen. As I'm riding on board of IRLT Max as we get started. I thought Max was not going to be in the race because ABS wasn't on, but we'll see. UCB Fine, good to have you on board.
Yeah, good to be here, man. I'm excited to see who can turn these lap times on this iconic track. ABS is off, traction control is off, racing line is only corners, pit assists are off. These guys are running with turning lines, and that's it right now, ladies and gentlemen. So this is as raw as you're going to get without having absolutely everything off.
I'm just trying to see the live stream in just a second. Hold on. You can take over for right now.
So we're with Max. He's coming around the fast right-hander before this little quick downhill. Then he's going to do the chicane and come around the final corner to start his hot lap. He's on the soft tires right now. Gets a good entry into that corner. It's right along board with Max as he starts his lap. Going to bury it into the first corner, full throttle. Great apex. Takes these two corners very well. Seems to be going very slowly. Oh, you know, this is because of his no ABS. He is moving just a little bit slower than I think he wants to be right now.
And
not locking up at all. It's very interesting right now, Noah. He's first race, no ABS.
I don't know. It might be compensating though on the braking though. You said it wasn't going too well.
Yeah, he's going a little slower than I've expected him in the past or seen him in the past. But still.
Going through Cobb's completely flat, coming up towards Maggins and Beckett's. Seeing how he takes it here. First flat, a little dab on the brakes there. Coming out of the exit, pretty good through Maggins and Beckett's. Yellow flag in Sector 1. I'm going to open the track map and also get the, actually, this is an invalidated lap from Max, actually.
No, it's not.
It is. It's a red map.
It doesn't show that on mine.
Oh, well. I'm usually right
He
anyway.
locked up the right front. Second to the last corner. Last corner. Ooh, almost spun out of there.
I'm right.
Wow,
amazing.
That's weird. It didn't show it up on mine. So who are we off to now?
Terra Racer goes fastest, 126.9. Michelizzi is coming off the old start-finish line. Waiting for a few other drivers to finish the laps. I think Ferreira should be close. Gil goes fastest, 126.2.
Michelizzi almost had an accident right there coming up to Maggotts and Beckett's.
Pretty early morning session right now in this qualifying session. I think I'm not sure if that is the correct time to be running the qualifying session, but it is pretty nonetheless. KJ Elfink is fastest, 125.9. Ferreira is coming out of Cobb's. Completely flat. Fruitful is coming out of the end of Sector 2 into Sector 3. And Paris did not set a valid lap time. Julian warming up tires.
His lap almost spins it. Coming up to the line here. Fruitful is 126.4, third fastest.
Julian goes 6th fastest. And Ferreira into the pits.
Ferreira, yeah, he dove over the grass to get into the pits. Allenvor.
Max is 5th fastest.
Fast right after the straight, after Maggots and Beckett's. Wow, way wide. And he comes in the pits.
I thought Allenvor was in the Ferrari. If I remember correctly. I guess he switched to the Racing Point. Paris is setting another lap. Did not set a lap previously. Had an invalidation. IGK Nolan Lopez is on an out lap at the moment. And in the pits is TVH Ice T56. Elfink slowly going into the pits. It's Paris who's the only Paris was setting a valid lap time and is invalidated again, so I presume he'll just go into the pits now, put on a new set of tires. It's 11 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in qualifying, and right now it is Elfink who was on pole position, Gil behind, and Fruitful is in 3rd. It's round number 4 of the championship. IGK Zach joins the lobby. Round 4 of the championship is going to be flying, and it's only a 10-round championship, so things are shaping up quickly in the European tier.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, this is going to be one of those series that you're going to really need to be on the best performance, best showings every race, because you get 3 wins on one guy. And he might walk away with it as long as he finishes in the points for the rest of the season.
And one of the Ferraris comes out of the pits. It is Gil in the Ferrari. Gil has won 2 races in a row in the European Championship. One of them on penalties, and I believe one of them was just outright won. So Gil is doing well in the European tier and looking good for possibly a championship as we go into round 4. So not a lot of time for drivers to pick up points.
Nolan Lopez is coming up the cobs. Flat out almost.
Just keeping it off the curb, coming up towards there in the papaya orange McLaren, of course. The McLaren team based in Woking in the UK and is definitively the most popular and successful UK team in Formula One. 11 championships total with 6 drivers, I believe, and 5 constructors. Or it might be 11 constructors. I have to remember. I think it was a deviation of 11. As here comes Nolan, second fastest. It's a 1:26.2. And the McLaren is on the first row of the grid.
Alfa Romeo is 3/10 faster than him.
Of course, the Connecticut Department of Labor always likes to email me during my European races and give me information that scares me as we continue on with qualifying. And Mail is spun. The Alfa Romeo is in Sector 3, and he spins it back around on the grass, and will definitely go into the pits. Those soft compound tires are definitely worn out at this point.
You've got TVH Ice-T coming around the second to last corner right now. This is his hot lap, 123, 124. Goes in 5th. Paris Burrell is on out lap. Gonna start his hot lap right now in a second. Starts the hot lap. First corner, take it like a champion. Second corner, full throttle. Braking at the 75-meter mark. Perfect apex. Takes the corner out wide. Get a better entry up into 3rd, 4th.
Who are we riding on board with?
Paris.
Oh.
Second, yes. First DRS straight. Oh no, really? Oh no, that was a glitch. Okay, he's still on pace. The game had him going way off track. Second sector split is going to be Oh, that'll be invalid.
And it is an invalidated lap from Paris. And Elfink still in the pole position. Giel in second. Nolan has dropped the third. NXX Fruitful is fourth. And fifth at the moment is Ice T 56. 7 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in qualifying. And it is the top three. Michelizzi coming up for in the third sector right now, just running a little bit wide, but keeping it valid nonetheless. Coming through the final chicane, a little lockup into the chicane. Coming around the final turn, let's see what Michelizzi's time is in the Mercedes, and it's 7th fastest for Michelizzi, so not a bad place for him. Has not had some great qualifyings, but Michelizzi hoping to have a return of fortunes after some unlucky situations.
Second place.
It's a 126.1. Oof. Oh, just about 2/10 off of Elfink's time. Ferreira, Paris, and Mayo have all not yet set laps, though. Ferreira is currently in the third sector. Keeps it off the curb just a little bit. Here we go, coming into the chicane, looking good. Shifting quickly as down as possible. Now shifting up. Sixth gear over the line, and it's only 11 fastest, though, so it's not a great qualifying position for him. Both racing points, 10th and 11th.
Lopez and ILRT Max flipped places, if I'm not mistaken, just now.
I'm going to ride on board of Mail, as Mail is coming out of Cobbs, and actually, sorry, in the the second turn, coming up towards the DRS zone, the sun blazing in his face.
Small lock up there on the left front.
Didn't look like a good exit either. On the DRS straight, off the curb just a little bit there.
In the 320. Does he get there? He does. All right. He had good speed down the straight.
I'm going to get the telemetry actually up for you, so you can see all the speeds and the revs.
Here. Great exit. Very well taken. Let's see how he takes Cobbs. Is it going to be flat out? Is he going to clip the inside well, or is he going to let off? Is that invalid?
It is not invalid. Going through Maggins and Beckett's. Looking good, carrying a lot of speed through here. And, ooh, that was very, very close to invalidation. Now DRS is on, coming down the DRS zone towards the end of sector. Well, I don't know. Mail saying I thought he was on a flying lap. I said he was on a flying lap. Now he's apparently on an owl lap. I don't know.
No, he's on a flying lap. He's got 43% ERS in 4. He's definitely on a hot lap.
Coming around the final turn, let's see what the time's going to be. It's a 127.5, so well off pace for Mail, sitting in 13th. Paris is coming out of the pit. Well, no, actually coming in the pits. So Paris has not yet set a time in qualifying. Only 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go and counting. And he's got to get up in some pace pretty quickly if he wants to move up the order. Paris, of course, a championship contender, and well, he was coming out of the pits, but it looked like he's now leaving the pits. So I'm not too sure what's going on there, but I can't select him. So I guess he is in the pit lane officially, as he's the only man who has not yet set a time. Nolan is setting another time, I do believe, keeping it in high ERS right now and getting it smooth out of the exit. A little bit of a wheel spin there. DRS is activated. Now an overtake, so definitely setting a lap right now is Lopez, and it's 700ths down on his previous Sector 1 time. It's not a purple sector, though, I would like to mention, as he's coming around towards the old start-finish line. Coming up towards Cobbs. Let's see how Nolan does. Taking it possibly flat, let's see. Obviously flat. Just off the curbs. No invalidation there. Coming up towards Maggins and Beckers. I'm going to ride on board with the McLaren driver. How he's taking speed through the corners. It's looking good. Just about perfect. Couldn't take it any better. A little bit of a slide, though, coming out of Maggins and Beckett's. He is a tenth and a half down, just about on his Sector 2 time. Not purple, though, so not fastest on track. and goes really wide out of the exit, but keeps it valid, so that might have helped him a little bit. Coming through the final chicane, cuts a major piece of the track there as well. Here comes Nolan across the line, second fastest, 1:26.1, and puts him ahead of Julian. And we thought Julian was setting blistering times, and Nolan says, I don't think so. And I would like to mention Paris is on an outlap on the first DRS zone, so we'll be able to set another lap time.
Also on an outlap. The only guy in the 25s.
And here we go, coming towards, and there's a yellow flag somewhere, and looks like Elfink warming up his tires, getting ready for his lap. It's a 1:25.9 on pole position. Nolan will not be setting another time, I believe. Julian is coming up to set another time. Ice T was a little higher up before, looks to be quite off the pace right now on this lap, so he will, I don't believe, he might actually be able to set one more lap time, as he'll warm up his tires as much as he can before he starts his lap. Elfink is on the DRS zone. Let's see what the Sector 1 time is going to be and how much faster. 0.02 of a second, and it's purple in Sector 1. Elfink on the charge right now in the Alfa Romeo branded Sauber engineered car. That's a mouthful, and I'm not going to say it again. And is looking good right now, about to come through Cobbs on the old start-finish line, and out there flat. Just a little bit on the curb, coming into Maggins and Beckett's. How does he carry the speed through here? And it's looking good. Didn't use too much of the curb there. I don't know if that's going to be to his detriment. Sector 2, though, is still purple, and it's almost a tenth down on the previous time. So Elfink on the charge right now to secure pole position. Coming around the final few turns, a little wide out of there, but coming into the chicane. Hitting the apex there, cuts the apex a little bit there. Now around the final turn, what's the time going to be? It's a 1:25.9414, so he lost a little bit of time in Sector 3, but nevertheless is extended his lead at the top on pole. Riding on board of Paris, who has not set a lap time, is coming out of Sector 2. Sector 2 purple for Paris. So Paris on a charge right now for pole position. I would like to mention Paris is dancing a little bit on track on my end. A little bit of lag, but we'll see how he does. A few drivers have finished. It's Mail, T, and Nolan have all finished. So Nolan did not set another time. And here comes Paris around the final turn. What's the time going to be? Only 4th fastest, not into the top 3, but we'll be happy nonetheless. 1:26.1 from Paris. So there's only one driver in the 25s at the moment, and it is Elfink. Can any driver upset that?
Will is on the last sector.
Fruitful also on the last sector. Yep. Here comes Giel. What's the time?
No.
Second fastest, ahead of Nolan. Looking good.
Dead. Good job.
NSX Fruitful, 6th fastest. We'll finish there. Julian is coming out of Maggins and Beckett's. Ran a little wide there. Let's see what this Sector 2 time is going to be. Purple, Sector 2 for Julian. So quick times right now in the end of qualifying. All the drivers trying to jostle for position.
Just crashed into the pit lane.
Here we go. Here comes Julian. Coming around the final few turns. Yellow flags don't matter in qualifying on F1 2019. You can still go full speed. Here we go. Coming around the final turn. Second fastest.
Good job.
So Elfink is on pole position for the first time in WSR's European tier. And Julian gets onto the front row of the grid beside him. Giel in 3rd. Nolan Lopez in 4th, and 5th for Paris in the Toro Rosso. 6th for Fruitful. Max in 7th. Michelizzi in 8th. 9th for Spanias. 10th for Terra Racer. Ice-T in 11th. 12th for Ferreira. Alan Voller in 13th. And rounding off the grid is Mail in the Alfa Romeo in 14th. So the Alfa Romeo teammates separated by quite a large margin.
Yeah, a little bit. This is a tight group though right now. You look at it, 125.9, and then everyone in the top 10 are under a top 13 are under a second.
And we are just getting ready and set for action. It's the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. The original Formula One race was held at Silverstone. The inaugural race that started the original Formula One World Championship started in 1950. And while we haven't been able to get under racing so far in this season, we're hoping to get towards it soon. But we'll bring you action nonetheless in WSR. 27 seconds to go and counting. We'll bring you a formation lap, go over the drivers, and then we'll get for the 5 red lights, and they will go off and will be set for the British Grand Prix. And there's the one red light coming on, and slow getaway for the formation lap. And let's go over your starting lineup for the 2020 WSR Euro British Grand Prix. It is Elfink on pole position, ahead of Julian in the Red Bull. IGK Giel, the championship leader, in the Ferrari in third. Nolan in fourth in the McLaren. Paris in fifth in the Toro Rosso, followed by Fruitful in the Williams. The other McLaren of Max is in 7th and has been disqualified for some reason. Michelizzi in 8th behind him, so they must have had contact of each other. Spaniez in 9th in the Renault. Chair Racer in 3rd in the Haas. Ice-T in 11th in the Toro Rosso, and now somebody's, I think, warmed up their tires a little bit too much, and nonetheless, Ferreira in the Racing Point, and Alan Vore, his teammate, in 13th. 14th for Mayo in the Alfa Romeo, and Zach comes back onto the grid after joining a mid-qualifying session. Will start in the Haas car in 15th. 26 laps around the British Grand Prix Silverstone track, and I can't wait to get ready for you all, ladies and gentlemen, for the 2020 Euro Grand Prix in Britain. You see, find any thoughts as we get started?
Yeah, I think we're going to have an outstanding race today. The top 6 are just 7. The top 7 are going to break away, I think. Michelizzi and GFO Span8 or whatever are going to have to really try hard to keep with these top 6 drivers, top 7 drivers. This is going to be a great race, Noah. I'm really excited for this. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to start? Who's going to have a better start? Let's just put it there.
Well, Elfink is unproven. I haven't seen Elfink that high up on the grid before, so we'll have to wait and see. Julian, we've seen perform well. Giel, of course, has had amazing race starts in the past, so I suspect he'll do just as well.
Really good, huh? Giel and Julian are proven masters of the start.
Of course, Nolan does force his way pretty much always when he can. So Nolan might be getting icy, and he's in 4th. And, of course, Paris is no slouch either. As we get ready, all the cars are lining up on their positions. There comes in the Haas, and we're getting ready for the 5 red lights. And I'm just going to wait for them to come on. And it's 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And in Silverstone, it is go. It's go. It's go. And it's Elfink who gets away. But here comes Elfink into turn 1. And it looks like Giel got the jump on Julian. No, Julian will still be side on him going into turn number 2. Now coming up to turn number 3. And here we go. Side by side still. It looks like a front wing of end plate came off some kind of car. And it's Giel ahead of Julian coming into the DRS zone. Still side by side though. And just keeping it on the curb now. Still side by side down the DRS zone. Giel squeezing him as much as possible. But it looks like Julian doesn't get the run. And now here comes Fruitful side by side of Paris. Coming around the turn on the inside, and it looks like he'll get the move done on him as well. Yes, it looks like just about ahead is Fruitful. Yes, slotting behind Julian just about. Paris behind him, Michelizzi in 6th, Max in 7th, and Nolan has had a terrible start. Now Terror Racer is on the inside. Nolan gets pushed off track, and that's something that Nolan's used to doing, but it's not going well for him either. Now the Racing Point ahead of him, and it's been an awful start for Nolan all the way down to 10th on the grid now, and now Spanias behind him is going to get to him.
His left side end plate.
That must have been the end plate that came off the car at the beginning of the race. Now, side by side of him is the Renault of Spanias coming into the turn and looks to brake later and trying to go around the outside of Nolan, and the Renault will go in, and now Nolan will go into the pits, and it's been a terrible start for him. Yellow flag, sector 3.
2 cars have spun. IGK Zach and Paris Barrel spun.
Zach is still going okay, though. He's in 8th at the moment.
No, may have just been Paris. I saw a blue car backwards on the track. I think it may have just been Paris.
Gil is getting chased down by the Red Bull of Julian, and in the slipstream right now is Julian. Here we go. Who will brake latest? Will we go on the inside of the turn? No. Gil covers it nicely. Good defending by the Ferrari. Here comes Ferreira and Michelizzi are battling for position now. Michelizzi keeps it on the inside. The Ferreira on the outside has to slot behind the Mercedes. Now Zach will try to get into the mix as well, but keeps it behind. Michelizzi and Ferreira are dancing for position. Switches to the outside line. Coming through cars completely flat, and Michelizzi trying around the outside. Still, though, on the inside is Michelizzi into the turn. Here comes Michelizzi and Zach now getting involved as well. And Michelizzi's actually lost out to both drivers. Zach has jumped Michelizzi, and now Zach's going to try to catch up to Ferreira. This is the kind of battle you don't see in the main tier. Drivers putting it on the line right now. These European drivers clearly showing the superior skill level, and it's absolutely amazing to see as lap number 3 will actually begin now as Elfink will go fastest on track. Gil will behind.
Max, everybody's lighting up the track, man. Look at this. Everybody's got fastest lap after fastest lap.
DRS is enabled, and now we're going to get some dicey overtakes here. Elfink leads away Gil.
3-second penalty.
Our first penalty of the day.
Oh! Jay Ferreira is sliding. He lost it.
But going still on the inside of Zach.
That let Michelizzi right up behind him. DRS is open for Michelizzi.
Michelizzi and it looks like Ferreira are going side by side. Michelizzi keeping it behind. Michelizzi now trying to go on the inside. There's a tap and a spin! There's a spin by Ferreira, and he loses out, and it might have been bound to happen with some of the contact that was being made between drivers, and not very good in that sense for Ferreira, now dropping down to 12th. Alan Vore sitting in 9th in the Racing Point teammate collectively behind Spanias.
Everybody got warning. The top 4 have warnings on lap 1. Michelizzi has a warning lap 1.
Yellow flag, there's a crash.
Oh no.
It's Mail. Mail has spun the car. I think he has front wing damage, maybe. No, actually, it might have been an element damage. No, the car is fine, it looks like.
Car is fine.
But he does have but he has spun the car, and the tires might be damaged, if anything. Gonna ride on board of Gil now, chasing down Elfink. Elfink had a little bit of wheel spin coming out of one of those turns, and now coming up to the DRS zone. Gil drops back a little bit, then get a good exit. Julian keeping it close to Gil in the Ferrari. Michelizzi close to Zach. I'm going to ride on board of Paris on his teammate Ice-T. They're going to go side by side into the turn. On the inside is Paris. And here we go. And I thought they made contact there. That was a little weird. And but there is definite contact with Paris and Ice-T. Paris went into the back of Ice-T. Now, does he push him off track a little bit there? Paris is lagging on my screen quite considerably. I don't know if he has a connection issue, but nonetheless, I am seeing a little bit of considerable lag as Ice-T is slots behind his teammate. Spanias has made a move on Michelizzi.
Paris went through Ice-T.
Yeah, he did. There was a little bit of.
Okay, you saw that.
I saw it as well. A little bit of alien action going on, but I'm going to ride on board
two
of
trains right now.
Well, Julian
really
and
good.
Elfink are battling right now. Julian and Gil are battling right now. And Gil is trying to battle with Elfink. Elfink is struggling right now. Gil behind him. And they're going to come up to turn number 1. And this is going to get pretty dicey now as they're separated each by just 0.05 of a second. And here comes Gil trying to possibly go on the inside in the turn number 2. And it doesn't work there. But he will be very close on this DRS zone as long as he can get a good exit. Now coming onto the DRS, 3/10 separating them. Now just about 4/10 and DRS activated. Getting close to Elfink. I think he might make a move. Will he go on the inside? Yes, he will. The Ferrari dives on the inside of the Alfa Romeo. A good move, but a switchback by Elfink, and Elfink gets ahead of him. The Alfa Romeo and the Ferrari are battling. It's a very old-time battle in Formula 1. We haven't seen it in a few years, but we're seeing it now. Elfink and Gil swatch positions from just a few corners. Julian is still keeping it, though, and Fruitful and Max are also getting interested. Unpredictable right now as it's lap number 5 of 26, and no real contender right now in terms of who is going to possibly get the win. They're all in contention right now.
Yeah, we have two pretty good trains developing
Here
right
comes
now.
Gil on the inside and gets the move into the lead. And it's Gil on the lead. Where will Elfink slot behind him? I think he will. Maybe try to make a move on the DRS straight coming through the chicane. So a move
Elfink
by Gil into the lead.
ERS. They both are on 2, so
Elfink goes
really
wide, really loses the car. Julian is going to be all over the Alfa Romeo now, and that's going to help Gil get away and take a more commanding lead. Elfink didn't get a great exit out of there. Julian keeping close. This is the same place, but now Elfink does have DRS on IGK Gil, which will help him quite considerably. Lap number 6 of 26. IRL Team Mail for 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Fruitful is in 4th in the Williams. Max in 5th in the McLaren. And the rest of the drivers are separated by a pretty good margin. Ice-T, though, is keeping his teammate Paris honest. Oh, but now Paris is actually catching up to Alan Vore. Alan Vore has lost it a little bit in the 2nd sector. Coming through Mags and Beckett's now. Going to ride on board of Julian, who is getting close to Elfink, but it is helping Elfink having within DRS range at Gil. Even if he doesn't get past him, he still gets to have a better defense against Julian. You see, find who's the surprise driver right now for you. As Gil goes fastest.
I've got to go with Elfink. I mean, first of all, his qualifying time was blistering, and the fact that he's in the running right now for the win. I got to give it to Elfink.
Paris is into the pits.
Gil is doing what we expected him to do. Julian is also doing what we expected him to do. Fruitful is as well. Max, Zach. Look, Zach's up from last place into 6th.
And it's medium compound tires and a wing change for Paris.
How about you? Who's your standout driver so far?
I mean, I think they've all been standout drivers. The battling has been fantastic between everybody. I would have to presume Zach would be my standout sitting in 6th. If there's a driver I'd have to say is a disappointment right now, though, Nolan has had a terrible race start, sitting in 13th after starting in the top 5.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you.
We're on lap number 7 right now, and all the way. Oh, somebody's on the grass, or was on the grass quite considerably. I think it was the Williams of Fruitful who lost a lot of time to Julian. Julian is pretty close to Elfink. Elfink is dropping back a little bit from Gil, and going wide on the curves like that is definitely not going to help his case. Coming around the final turn, and Gil is definitely gaining. And here comes Alan Vore and Ice-T are battling, and Looks like Alan Vore tried to push Ice-T off track, but no. Now Alan Vore's in the pits. Ferreira will now try to battle with Ice-T. And has Elfink. Elfink's lost a bunch of positions. Dropped down to 4th. Did we see what happened there?
Oh, no.
Elfink has dropped to 4th after being in 2nd. So Julian's up in the 2nd position. 1.4 seconds, though, separating them. So Fruitful right now in a very good position right now for a possible overtake. Julian not being in DRS range.
No wing damage to speak of for Elfink. Down 3 spots.
You see me fine. Can you just take over for just a second? I have to go get a drink of water.
So, right now, riding along board with Elfink and just trying to get an eyeball on what's going on, dropping down a few places here. He's behind Fruitful. Fruitful is one of the faster drivers in this game. A lot of these guys are in the top 50 lap times on time trial in every single track. And we're getting pits now. We're getting pits. So we'll see who's going to come out ahead. Got Fruitful is still out, as is Max and Zach. It's going to be interesting to see where Elfink and Will and Julian come out. Alright, so they flipped around a little bit. Will is ahead of Julian, and then Elfink's after Julian. Let's take a look up here at the front. Unfortunately, I can't change the screen that you guys are watching, but I can tell you what's happening at the front. We have NSX Fruitful, who has a 1.4 second gap to ILRT Max, and Zach is behind them 4 seconds back. So the gaps are developing. They'll shorten up just a little bit here, ladies and gentlemen, once we get the second round of pit stops, because people will start settling into their strategies. And I'm not quite sure if we're going to have a safety car today, to be completely honest with you. I do not see any significantly dangerous overtakes or dive bombs happening, and the spins that these guys make are generally not accidents like they are in some of the other league races you guys will see online on YouTube here. You guys will see some league races that will just get destroyed because a couple guys will spin so badly that it will ruin the race for 2 or 3 drivers directly behind them. And
Ferreira's gone on the inside of Ice-T and goes in the 4th. I would like to mention in Sector 3.
Nice.
So what happened with Elfink? He's down to 8th?
Yeah, I don't see any damage. They pitted. Gwill, Julian, and Elfink pitted. So that's why he's down there, and that's why Gwill and Julian are where they are.
And Zach's into the lead.
Yeah, Zach, Max, Fruitful. Max and Fruitful pitted. Zach is on mediums. Let's see, when did he pit?
Hey, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, as I just burped completely, unfortunately, on stream. I do apologize, as I'm riding on board right now of Fruitful. Well, it's probably heard on the stream then, but one of the problems of getting a good microphone, they hear everything.
Forgot what I was doing, so I'm just gonna stop doing it.
Yeah. You see me fine reminding me that I have to go to bed, because that's something I'm gonna do a lot in this stream. Do something and forget it.
Yeah.
I'm right on board.
I was trying to see when Zach needs to pit, or if he pitted.
Fruitful is sitting in 6th. He's 5/10 behind Julian. Julian is 1.4 seconds behind Gil, so Fruitful in a good position possibly for an overtake, as Julian won't be having any DRS help with Gil. So on lap
having a little bit
11,
of glitches with my timetables and things. It's not showing me anything after lap 9 for Zach.
and I'm riding on board of Ice-T right now, who is behind Ferreira, and Ferreira is struggling right now on those medium compound tires. Ferreira's pitted, right? Has he not, or did he start on the mediums?
Sure that he.
Sorry, you cut off there. I didn't hear you.
I'm pretty sure he pitted. Sorry about that.
Yellow flags. There's yellow flags somewhere. I don't know why. There was no cars in that section of the track, so the marshals are obviously forgetting what they're doing. We're on lap 11 of 26. The race is actually flying by pretty well. No major incidents, no safety cars, which is a blessing to behold, because I think we've had more safety cars. More safety cars than we've had rain races last season.
I have to tell you, our Tier 1 race last week, Harrisburg, a 3-second time penalty, and Ice-T is in the pits. I think, aside from the last 2 races in Tier 1, we have had some very good racing in WSR this season, and Tier 1's just going to need to get it under control a little bit.
Yeah, we have to stop having 3 or 4 safety cars within 10 laps. And Ice-T will put on, looks like hards. No, is it what tire did he put on there? It's no, it's mediums. Mediums for Ice-T. I don't know if he started on the softs. I don't remember. Julian is close to NSX Fruitful, sitting in 4th. It's Fruitful. Coming up on the old start-finish line, coming up towards Cobbs. Who gets the better line? It looked to be Fruitful with the better line. Any close battles? Looks like Michelizzi and Spanias are battling right now. They're coming up through Cobbs. And it looks like Michelizzi and Spanias got pretty much both a perfect line, and they're battling really well right now, coming through Maggins and Beckett's. But it looks like Spanias, who runs a little bit better, but then on the grass is Spanias, so maybe not. As they're trying to see what's the closest battle I got on track right now, and it just looks, that does look to be the case. It's Michelizzi and Spanias. They're going side by side out of the exit of Sector 3, and look at this. What a great camera shot there on the inside, and oh, there's contact there, and Spanias hit the rear tires of Michelizzi, and now Nolan Lopez is getting involved with Spanias. Is he going to go side by side in the turn number 1? Yes, he does, and he gets ahead of Spanias pretty easily, as I think Spanias probably bowed out of that. And now Nolan is going to try to get his elbows out and make up some positions. 14.5 seconds is the gap from second and first for Zach and Ferreira. So Zach is actually looking to come out in a pretty good position when he makes his pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if Zach pits in the next lap or 2, or 3, he's going to come out in 6th. 7th.
Does he do it now? No.
I'm on board with Eltink and Max right now. Eltink is getting close. Julian is also real close to Fruitful. Fruitful just had a little bit of a mishap at the apex, exited wide. Julian's going to have a run on him coming up the front straight here. And the first DRS detection zone.
And Fruitful will not have DRS to help with Gil. Nolan Lopez and Michelizzi go side by side. Michelizzi into the chicane. It's still on the inside of Nolan. Nolan still on the inside of Michelizzi. Nolan, and there's a kind of a characteristic push wide by Nolan. And
great racing, boys. Great racing. Side by side contact. No accident. Great racing.
characteristic push off track by Nolan, I would have to say, though. It's not completely wrong to see that happen with him, and just something I think you got to get used to.
DRS for Michelizzi. Nolan defends.
Switches on the inside a little bit. I think trying to tempt Michelizzi to go on the outside and lose a little bit of momentum. Michelizzi does not fall for it. Spaniez is in 10th now and is caught up to both of them with that little battle Michelizzi and Nolan had.
Fruitful is getting closer to Julian and he's about to activate DRS.
Zach has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I actually keep forgetting how slow the entrance is on the pit lane for Silverstone. So he is going to lose a lot more time than I think I remember he would. Ferreira is coming around the final turn now. Ferreira has not made a pit stop either. Gil goes up in the second, so Gil is your effective race leader right now.
Zach's out now. All right, out in the 7th.
Nolan is a good 30 seconds behind Zach. Coming out now 16 seconds. Spaniez still close to Michelizzi. Michelizzi dropping back from Lopez. But Spaniez had a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and Spaniez actually lost it, went a little bit too wide out of the braking zone. Michelizzi, however, has gained on Nolan Lopez. Now, Nolan has no DRS, Michelizzi does. And this does not help him. If no one makes any mistakes at any point, this could cost him dearly. And looking close. Here we go.
We've got a couple good races coming up here, man. We've got 9th, 10th, and 11th. And we've got 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th. It's getting spicy. Michelizzi, great line coming through here. Gonna get a good run. Both Nolan and Michelizzi off track getting dirt, and GFO Spaniez gets a much better run up to Michelizzi. Gonna make a move on the inside. Michelizzi says, no thank you, sir. I've got a better line. I've got the traction. This will be my corner.
Ferreira into the pits, and Gil takes the lead of the race. Oh, Nolan line up on the grass a little bit there. Michelizzi might gain some time. Spaniez will also gain time through everybody. Ferreira drops down to 11th. And should get ahead of his teammate, or Alan Vorget ahead. Oh, Alan Vorget's ahead of his teammate. Ferreira's had a not great stint here, now dropping down to 12th. Ahead of Ice-T. KJ and Max are going side by side. Max still on the inside of the Alfa Romeo. They're really close to making contact, but finally Elfing slots ahead of Max. It was a little dicey there. It looked like a little bit of contact was made, but now a bad run for Elfing out of Cobbs, and I don't think they really want to be going side by side through Magnus and Beckett's, but he might have to if one of the drivers loses it. And I think it was Elfink who lost it a little bit, but Max had to panic, get out of that situation.
Yeah, Max let off a little bit.
Oh, Spania's sliding around in Maggins and Beckett's, and that's only going to help Paris gain on him. And now Paris is pretty close up to ninth place.
Max almost lost it coming around the final corner onto the front straight. Elting gained about 3/10 of a second on him, and Zach with the fastest lap, 129.209. So he's hustling behind Max.
Fruitful 4/10 behind Julian. Lap 17 of 26. This race is flying by, ladies and gentlemen. No serious stoppage. These drivers are battling it all out right now. And I have to remember not to ride on board too many times at Silverstone because I don't really want another FOM blockage. I do remember that.
Yeah, I remember that too.
I've heard they've been getting a little dicey with the copyrights because they've been doing the esports races. Alan Vore and Ferreira are battling. The teammates are 2 racing points. It looks like Ferreira just getting ahead of Alan Vore. Alan Vore sliding behind. This is a great battle right now for 11th position. Going through Cobbs, completely flat. Alan Vore loses it a little bit. Max has now gone ahead of Elfink. Elfink will switch, try to make a move. Oh, but Max just... Max moved on the braking zone there. Was on the outside, then moved on to the inside. That's not fair. That's not fair. You can't move twice in the braking zone. Getting a little dicey there.
This is my point. In other tiers and in other... Here he goes. Here he goes. Eltink, does he have him? He does not, because Max has the inside line on this next corner. Gonna try to switch back. Are they gonna give him enough room? He is gonna give him enough room. Wow, what good racing here from Max and KJ. What good racing, side by side.
Looks like Elfink braked better and broke later and now got the move. No switchback from Max. Max will slot behind the Alfa Romeo. As you were saying, he's going to be flying.
No, it's amazing. Just some of the things that these guys are able to do would put other drivers in other leagues, not just Worldwide Sim Racing, but some of the other leagues that we watch. They would put them into the wall. They'd be spinning. There'd be a 540, a 720 spin going on.
The racing points are still battling, and now the racing point of Ferreira has spun off worse from his teammate. They made contact, and you broke rule number 1. You broke rule number 1 of Formula 1 racing. You don't hit your teammate.
Neither one of them have any damage to speak of. I saw both coming down the back straight.
Here comes Paris on Spanias. They're going side by side down the start-finish line. It's going to get dicey between the two. On the inside is Paris. The Renault breaks a little later. Still side by side. Now Spanias slots behind.
Paris locks up.
Max is still following Elfink. There's a yellow flag somewhere, and it's 1 away. Lap 19 of 26, so we're getting close to the end here, ladies and gentlemen, and nobody's letting off. And it's good to finally see some good racing instead of some penalty racing. Zach is in 6th.
Really
I actually like to mention, though, Zach has caught up a lot to Max and Elfink with all the battling they've been doing, so this is helping Zach a lot. Now Zach's getting into it. Max tries to go on the inside of Elfink. Zach is getting really into it right now, getting very interested to get into the top 5.
I think Zach's on a push for 4th.
Oh, look at this. Zach is up right on the gearbox of Max. This is some serious falling right now. In through Max.
3-second penalty.
Oh, Max went a little slower in there. Zach almost went in the back of him now on this DRS straight. Here we go. Elfink has no DRS. Here comes Max down the DRS straight on the inside of Elfink. They're going to still side by side. Contact between drivers and off track. It looks like Elfink's still going to keep ahead. And now IGK... oh my goodness. Can't even make any speech right now. As Elfink still... Somehow Max has dropped down to 6 out of all of this. Zach actually jumped him. Here comes Zach, though, on Elfink onto the inside. And this is... Here we go. A big dive bomb by Zach. Switchback by Elfink. Elfink trying to go around the outside, making a switchback on the inside. It gets covered by Zach. Zach pushes himself in the 4th. Max is behind. DRS activated. Zach is swerving on track, goes back to the on the outside line, and now Elfink and Max are going to still be battling their own way. Serious racing for 4th position in this Grand Prix, and but Max get the 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and that is not what you want to have in the closing stages of this race.
Penalty for Elfink.
Alan Vore pushes Ice-T off track and gets ahead of him into 11th.
And don't forget, Zach has a 5-second penalty for speeding in pit lane, which I don't think that he served. He hasn't gone back into the pit.
Here we go. Max might look on the inside of Elfink. No. Mail is spun somewhere possibly. There's a yellow flag, and yes, he has spun, and Sector 2 yellow. Mail puts it back on track. I don't think there's anybody too close to him. Julian is getting close to Gil, I would like to mention, though, for the lead of this race. And
yes,
Fruitful is still keeping close, and a lockup looked like from Julian, though, in the Red Bull.
Yeah, a little bit.
Max is keeping it
get
close.
DRS.
I don't know which battle to watch. Everything's going
Will's
great. Here we go.
Julian
going down the DRS line.
Ooh, no.
No. I think Fruitful actually wasn't expecting that because he made contact with him at the back. That was not, I don't think he was expecting him not to make a move. And Alan Vore gets ahead of his teammate Ferreira, and the two Racing Points are battling again. And I don't know if they're going to get dicey with each other. They made contact previously, but we'll have to wait and see. On the DRS straight, Ferreira now trying to go on the inside. Alan Vore cuts off his teammate, coming down the DRS line, taking the outside line. Should be an easy move. Side by side through here. Who breaks latest? Still side by side. Mail is out of the Grand Prix. Has he retired in the pit lane? I don't know where he retired, but still side by side. Alan Vore and Ferreira. Even I see Julian's taking the lead of the race. Still side by side. Slots behind him. Julian takes the lead of the race, though. I apologize for missing it, but the Racing Points are getting into it now. Max has gone ahead of Elfink, and Elfink goes down to 6th. Michelizzi and Spanias are still going side by side. Here comes the Mercedes on the inside of the Renault. The Renault leaves him space, and Michelizzi with a great move still around the outside of the Renault. And now the Renault does get ahead of him, and it was a little bit of skipping on my end of the screen there. Some lag issues. Elfink is sitting in 6th behind Max. Max has no DRS. The Racing Points are still battling, and this is very, very close. Alan Vore now on the inside, going in the Cobbs, and whoa, look at this. Oh, still the amazing, sorry, not Cobbs the first turn, but nonetheless, the Racing Points are battling big time. Ice-T is trying to get involved. Are you watching this, you see me flying? The Racing Points are getting serious right now. Alan Vore, though, is struggling on the mediums.
Ooh,
big speed for Ferreira.
He's giving him no room. Alan Vore is giving Ferreira no room.
Now on the inside is Ice-T on Alan Vore, and they make a switch back. He keeps it around the outside, but Alan Vore keeps ahead. Gil chasing down Julian Arret, coming up towards lap 23 of 26. There will be 3 laps, including this one coming up. Oh, Ice-T lost it in Maggins and Beckett.
Yeah, a little bit.
And no, Alan Vore loses it in a spin by Alan Vore. And that is his race done in that sense. And I think Ferreira's thinking karma, mate. Karma.
Could be. KJ's right up behind Max on the DRS straight.
And Max, a lot of swerving.
Probably trying to break the slipstream.
Oh, ooh, hits the back of Max. Max broke there a little bit more than I think he was expecting. Alan Vore retires from the
safety car.
Oh, well, where did Alan Vore retire? Did he retire in the pit lane? I hope he did.
Yes.
No,
he
did?
did.
Okay,
Yes,
he did. But virtual safety car, lap 23 or 26. This is crucial. Final 3 laps. How long will this one end? Well, how long will this virtual safety car last is their key question.
No,
Elfink has a 3-second time penalty. Oh, that's no good. Here comes IGK and Julian moves in the braking zone and cuts off Gil. And now it's going to get serious. The Ferrari is going side by side. Julian's lost the position, drops down the 3rd. NSX Fruitful in the 2nd, and Gil gets himself back in the lead of the race. But there was a movement in the braking zone there, and that could have been a catastrophic accident.
Looks like Julian was the loser in that scenario there. Drops down to 3rd place after almost losing it, getting a tang slapper.
NSX Fruitful looking. Will he look around the outside? Yes. Now maybe a switchback looking and still hanging around the outside, looking for an avenue. Gil will have no DRS down the straight. NSX Fruitful will. I believe an overtake's coming up. Here we go. He's going to try to go on the inside, and he will make the move on the inside, and it's a pretty easy move. A switchback, though, for Gil. Gil will try to hang it around the outside, still hanging around the outside. Coming out of the exit, the Williams is still ahead. Here comes Gil. Gil slots behind the Williams. Julian will like this as he'll catch back up more. Max and Elfink are still battling right now. Coming through Cobbs, flat all the way in the slipstream. Max on Elfink, coming through Maggins and Beckett's. This is going to get dicey. Max loses a little bit to Elfink, but then gains a little bit in there. Here comes the DRS zone. This should be pretty easy of an overtake if he can get close. And yes, with big slipstream on the inside of Elfink, braking later, and he will get the move on Elfink and puts himself into 5th. Elfink looking for an avenue.
Up his butt, though.
Lap 25 of 26. Paris has a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Spaniez gets ahead of Michelizzi. Michelizzi will try to dive on the inside. He'll look, but no. Maybe now a switchback. Oh, makes contact with Spaniez, and this is getting dicey between those two.
Elfink makes contact with Max, pushes him out a little bit. Max keeps the inside line.
Here comes Elfink on the DRS straight. This is going to get close. Here we go. Elfink on Max. Slipstream is not great down the DRS straight, and none of them had DRS. That might have been a problem. I don't know why, but Elfink did not have DRS down there. Neither of them did. Michelizzi is still chasing down Spaniez for a little few extra points. Ice-T is still battling with Ferreira.
Will and Fruitful.
And much better through Maggins and Beckett's is Julian than Gil. Of course, he will have DRS. Gil will not. Gil will have DRS, but he's a little further back than I think he'd like to be, and there will be no move made at the moment. Here comes Elfink on Max. He'll look on the inside, diving on the inside of the McLaren. Makes the move. Switches on the inside as Max, going side by side into the chicane. Elfink gets the move on the inside. A little bit of nudging and touching, but Elfink gets ahead into 5th. Lap 26 of 26. NSX Fruitful is your race leader. Gil is behind. I didn't see Fruitful get into the lead.
Yeah, it was in Sector 3 in the last 4 corners.
Julian is close. Here comes down the DRS straight. Fruitful keeps it ahead. Max getting close to Elfink. Going to dive on the inside into the turn, and this has been a battle up and down the field. I feel like I'm watching a Claren Verstappen all over again, only it's the whole field.
Yeah, this has been an outstanding race. Very good quality racecraft on display here tonight.
And Julian in 3rd, chasing down the top 2, but dropping back a little bit. Gil will have one final run on the DRS straight. He wants to get a good exit. Did get a good exit. Coming down the line on Fruitful on the DRS straight. It's going to come up to the final few turns. Will he send it on the inside? No, keeps it behind Fruitful. This is going to be interesting now, but Fruitful runs wide. It's going to come down to the penalties now. Who has more penalties, Fruitful or Gil? I don't think either of them had penalties. I didn't see anything. Here we go around the final turn. Who's going to win the Grand Prix? Fruitful comes across first, but Gil wins it again on penalties.
Julian takes 2nd.
NSX Fruitful the 3rd. Elfink stays in 6th behind Max. Gil has won 3 races in a row in WSR. Wow.
What a race from Will. What a race from Zach, up from, what was it, 14th? 15th? What a good job.
But Gil wins it again on penalties. And that's the third race win in a row. A stunning turn of events at the end of the Grand Prix. The race flew by.
It really did today.
One VSC. It was only retiring the pit lane, but nonetheless, Gil wins the Grand Prix. Another prancing horse victory in WSR. And there's the Ferrari driver coming up onto the top step to claim his trophy. And it's been an absolutely amazing British Grand Prix for the Euro tier. One of the greatest races I've ever watched in worldwide sim racing. And thank you for joining us for the European tier race. Make sure to join us in just a few hours for the tier 2 race around Australia. My name is WSRX.
My name is WSR. You see me flying.
And you've been watching Worldwide Sim Racing. Thank you very much and have a great afternoon.